This podcast of This American Life is supported by you. Well, maybe. If you go to our website where you can download or stream video of our recent live show. It's nearly 2 hours long, including stuff that was not on the radio or podcast, and lots of stuff that has to be seen, not just heard. A Broadway-style musical with full choreography, not one but two mini operas, Mike Birbiglia with a person in a mouse costume, roller skating, Sashir Zameda from Saturday Night Live, songs by Stephen Merritt of the Magnetic Fields, costumes, sets, surprise guests, all captured by 6 cameras, yours at thisamericanlife.org, if you want it. Thanks.
In October 2003, a guy was brought into the psychiatric emergency room at Bellevue Hospital in New York City. Dr. Joe Gold was the chief attending psychiatrist that day and saw him.
He felt that his life was essentially a reality show, that he's been recorded for years, that everyone in his life was an actor reading from a script, and he came to New York essentially to test this hypothesis.
He thought that maybe 9/11 was faked, just to get a reaction out of him on reality TV.
And if he came to New York, and if the World Trade Centers were still standing, he would know that that was in fact the case. If in fact they had been destroyed, then he would admit that perhaps he was delusional.
But once he got to New York, instead of visiting the Twin Towers, he walked into the United Nations and asked for asylum. Asylum from a TV show that was filming him without his consent, 24 hours a day, which, is how he ended up in Bellevue. Dr. Gold didn't think much of this. People show up at Bellevue with lots of weird delusions all the time. And then a few months later, another guy walks in with the same idea, that he was being filmed 24/7 and broadcast around the world. And the second guy, like the first one, mentioned a film, the 1998 movie, The Truman Show.
Both of them named The Truman Show, by name. They said, my life is like The Truman Show.
Truman is played by Jim Carrey. He's filmed all day, every day, on a program that is broadcast to billions of people around the globe. His wife, his best friend, everybody around him is an actor. Everybody knows it's a TV show but him, until one day he starts to see clues that make him suspicious. And just to be clear, you're not saying that The Truman Show necessarily triggered this. Like people watch The Truman Show and suddenly something in their brain snaps.
Yeah, exactly. On the contrary, I think it's just when people are becoming psychotic, things feel a little bit unusual, a bit odd, but what would explain all this weirdness? And perhaps if you've seen the movie and that's kicking around your head, you might say, yes, this is it. This is what's happening to me.
If your psychosis includes both paranoia and a sense that you are very, very important, what psychiatrists call grandiosity. 30 years ago, you might think that the CIA or the KGB is watching you all the time. These days, you have another possible explanation: reality TV. A few months later, a third patient showed up with the same delusion, and a few months after that, a fourth. Dr. Gold started calling it the Truman Show delusion. He's just written a book about it with his brother Ian called Suspicious Minds. In one case in the book, a patient, super smart guy, an academic, very altruistic, believed that he was part of an elaborate game show, and the world was watching him and betting on everything that he did.
And this was a really fun thing that everyone would be doing online, and the monies collected would go to charities all over the world, and that every single human being on Earth would be given some amount of money, and the world would be, bettered for it.
One of the things that he included in his delusion, you write in your book, is that he has the thought that he actually was the mastermind who created this game show that he was on, and that he controlled it, and he knew the rules when he had originally created the show, but somehow he had forgotten that and all the rules, which is so interesting because, of course, it's true. Like, he did invent the game show, and the only fact that he's missing is